Some representatives thought that the investment in the EU should always take priority before other countries, and examples were taken of the crisis in Greece as an example of how we should focus on internal EU issues before developing other countries. Also, there were suggestions that a dependency on aid could occur if too much development is given on a one-way basis from the EU to less economically developed countries. Also, very importantly, the difference between humanitarian aid and long-term investment was indeed highlighted, and many people gave many convincing speeches on how humanitarian aid still remains very, very important, and a thing that the EU should commit itself to. However, in conclusion, the point was made that it is a part of human nature to accept the idea of solidarity for those others.
As it stands now, the EU itself, as a supranational being, as it were, does not have a particularly active role in the provision of aid overseas. At the moment, that job, that role, is fulfilled solely by the individual member states themselves. So I was just wondering why exactly you feel now that we should have this dramatic shift. So the onus is not placed on individual countries to encourage development and provide aid, but instead why you feel it should be the remit of the EU as a body to provide this aid.
If you have 28 individual nations following different policies, often the effect is a lot less. Often the effect is quite sporadic, and there isn't one set goal. As a European Union, as a united body with common interests and common values, we believe we can actually bring a bigger change, a greater change at greater speed, certainly within a body like this, a united body that can use these directives effectively.
We also feel giving women more rights, such as enshrining maternity pay and stopping discrimination in law, is very important. Countries should also be allowed to set more current service-orientated curricula, as Europe is fast becoming a tertiary economy, and we feel that it's very important to allow countries to specialise in technology and education and such like. We must encourage education on the EU to encourage pupils to engage with it. Gay marriage should also be encouraged to be implemented across all nations. This was unanimously recommended by the committee. There is also to be further empowerment of women through education, as well as the legislative rules placed further earlier. We didn't touch much upon the future of an EU as a committee, but instead focused on looking after the young people of the world, because we feel that they shall build the Europe of the future. We were the Committee on the Future of Europe. And to do that, we must look after and encourage the people, the citizens of the future Europe, to build the best Europe they can, whether that be within the EU or whether they decide the EU has become a relic. That is not our decision to make. That is a decision for the future, and we must allow the future Europeans to decide what will happen in the future, because they are the future.
How do you want to pursue the legalization of gay marriage in countries who are based on a strong Christianity belief? Thank you.
We thank you for the point. We feel that the committee itself was surprised that there was no opposition to this from the more Christian-founded members, and we feel that this was being the only unanimous decision made of the day, that it seems that these nations, governments at least, are willing to implement this. We would like to see a policy where obviously this is enshrined perhaps in directives and therefore in individual countries' law, but we would also agree that there must be a compromise with the Christian faith, and would like to kind of perhaps move towards a system where clergy are by no means forced to adopt gay marriage if they think to partake in gay marriages, but we feel that there should be an option of a church-led gay marriage, but on the individual level of clergy, perhaps there could be an opt-out there. But we feel the nations in our committee unanimously accepted that proposal, so that proposal will be easier to implement in Europe than was previously envisaged.